Part 47. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 461. Suemo was immediately embarrassed, with a very complicated expression. After thinking for a few seconds, he said, "Su-yang, I can't tell you my identity at the moment. Knowing too much will do you no good. But don't worry, your great-grandfather and I are from the same family, and we have the same goal." Suemo said seriously, "So, you can't kill me, keeping me will be of great use. As for your identity, you don't want to say it, and I won't force you." Su-yang stared at Suemo and said sharply, "But you must answer me, what is my great-grandfather's goal? If you are not even willing to tell me this, then don't blame me for being unkind." "Ken." Suemo nodded, without hiding anything, and said truthfully, "Your great-great-grandfather's heart is as high as the sky. He has a great ambition, which is to cut off the big hands from outside the territory, revive the Earth's aura, and restore the grandeur of thousands of years ago. He once said, 'May spiritual energy erupt everywhere on the Earth, and may all human monks be killed.'" Speaking of this, Suemo showed admiration in his eyes. "Suwuji has the world in mind and the whole Earth in his heart. He is awesome." When Su-yang heard this, he felt a sense of admiration. He admired Suwuzi. It's not because Suwuzi is the great-grandfather, it's simply because his name is Suwuzi. "Suemo, my great-grandfather cares about the world, but you don't look like such a righteous person." Su-yang stared at Suemo and asked, "Why do you have the same goal as my great-grandfather?" "Because those foreign immortal emperors are my enemies." Suemo gritted his teeth and said, "What I just said is half true and half false. The things about the selfless magic art and the Void Tower are false, but the story about your great-grandfather is true. Back then, 3 immortal emperors from outside the realm teamed up to severely injure me. I was lucky enough to save my life and hide on Earth." Suemo said angrily, "I swear, one day sooner or later, I will break the void, go find those 3 bastards to settle accounts, and make them die without their bodies intact. And it's true that I became obsessed. Alas, hatred clouded my conscience." Suemo said with a guilty look on his face, "For more than 100 years, I often think of those innocent souls who died in my hands, and I feel extremely guilty in my heart. Although I have been arrogant and domineering throughout my life, I have never killed innocent people indiscriminately before this, but this time I slaughtered hundreds of thousands of creatures. This is really wrong." Suemo blamed himself. Su-yang couldn't tell whether what Suemo said was true or false. But since this person knows so much about the selfless divine art, it means that he and his great-grandfather do know each other, and they should have a good relationship. Therefore, Su-yang thought about it and decided to save his life for the time being, not to devour his soul, but to give his great-grandfather a face. However, the longer you practice the selfless magic skill and the deeper you understand it, the harder it will be to control the evil." Suemo continued, "So, he changed the rules and used his current body to obey fellow practitioners, so that he had 2 auras in his body. Good. Of course, this kind of thunder catastrophe didn't have much effect on the top strong men on the Earth at that time. That's why the immortal emperor from outside the territory came with the gate of space and forcibly captured the strong men on the Earth." When Suemo mentioned this matter, there was overwhelming anger. Suemo said bitterly, "This is also one of the methods used by the immortal emperor from outside the territory to force the Earth's monks to embark on the ancient road of the starry sky. Back then, no nascent soul monk could bear it and set foot on the ancient road of the starry sky one after another." But Suemo shook his head, and then said with admiration, "If you want to say that your grandpa and I, Suwuji, are serious. When you reach the realm of nascent soul, you will not only face unknown dangers, but you will also have to endure a thunderstorm bombardment every half a month." Suemo couldn't help but praise, "But your great-grandfather has a tough mind and has actually controlled his vicious side." His right hand is good and his left hand is evil. There are no opponents in the same realm. It is even easier to kill someone by leapfrogging someone. No. Suemo nodded and said, with Suwaji's temperament, how could he not practice cultivation? One spiritual energy is extremely pure and yang, and another spiritual energy is extremely evil and evil, blending together. In this way, he will not only endure the unknown, but also suffer from the thunder tribulation. His whole body is scorched black and covered with bruises, which should be caused by the thunder tribulation. Suemo seemed to have passed by. Taboo Russian said, that kind of thunder disaster, although it does not cause death, makes life worse than death. By the way, Su Yang, did you say that after Suwaji broke into the nascent soul realm, he disappeared and never showed up again? Suemo asked. When I have the opportunity to see my great-grandfather, I will ask my great-grandfather for confirmation. If Suemo dares to lie to me, it will not be too late to kill him. But he insists on himself, saying that he, Suwazi, is unique in the world, and there should not be a second Suwazi. That means I really have two great-grandfathers, Su Yang asked doubtfully. That's it? Thinking of his great-great-grandfather, Su Yang had another doubt in his mind, and asked, Suemo, has my great-great-grandfather practiced the divine art of selflessness in reverse? Suemo murmured, although I don't understand the selfless divine art, I can see that the reason why this technique splits the soul is to make it more pure. After Suemo heard this, he concluded, it seems that as I guessed, Suwaji did not embark on the ancient road to the stars, but chose to stay on the earth. Suemo sighed and said, I don't know how long Suwazi can hold on. It happened once. None of the hundreds of thousands of nascent soul cultivators could resist, they all lowered their heads in front of the thunder tribulation. Good-natured souls specialize in selfless heavenly skills, and evil souls specialize in selfless demonic skills. The water in the well does not interfere with the water in the river, so as to avoid mutual interference. Seeing this, Su Yang asked, were you one of the top experts on Earth back then? Anyway, Suemo is imprisoned in the Void Tower. Unless Su Yang is willing, he will never leave the tower in his life. Su Yang responded, that time, his whole body was charred black and covered with scars. He looked very embarrassed, and his breath seemed unstable. Even a strong-willed cultivator will lose all his will after experiencing that kind of thunder tribulation, and will choose to walk on the ancient road of the stars. Su Yang asked doubtfully, thunder tribulation. Suemo continued, in the Dan formation realm, unknown things will happen to the body, and this kind of unpredictability will always be with you. Above the foundation is the realm of pill formation. Naturally, the immortal emperor from outside the realm is not afraid of cultivators in this realm, but they want to prevent cultivators from continuing to break through, so they set rules. Suemo nodded and said, this is a law established by the immortal emperor from outside the territory. They allow cultivators in the foundation building realm to appear on the earth, because foundation building is too weak for them, like ants, and does not pose a threat, so they don't care. According to what he said, if you want to follow fellow practitioners in the selfless divine art, you must split a soul and divide yourself into two. One body practices the selfless heavenly art, and the other body practices the selfless demonic art. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 462. Suemo seemed to have not heard Su Yang's question and chose to remain silent. Su Yang saw that the other party didn't want to talk, so he didn't ask further questions. Now, Su Yang already knew many of the questions, and the rest was what Suemo didn't want to talk about. Now Su Yang feels even more that Suemo cannot be killed. This person knows a lot about the earth, which I know nothing about, so keeping him should be of some use. Suemo, I entered the second floor of the Void Tower this time just to find you. Su Yang continued, I want to ask you something about the Gaiming section. Ghost Underworld section. When Suemo heard these three words, he immediately smiled bitterly and said, "This is a sect I created when I became a demon. The purpose is to let them collect resources for me. But now that I have sobered up, this sect has no meaning anymore." Suemo asked in confusion, "Why, more than 100 years have passed, and the Gaiming sect still exists? Didn't Suwuji destroy it? I don't know what happened back then, but the Gaiming sect has not disappeared." Su Yang looked at Suemo and told Suemo everything about the 100 sects martial arts and the discovery of the dead energy in Chunguang Tower of Wudang ancient town. 100 sects martial arts competition. After Suemo heard this, his first reaction was to ask, "Is this the year of the tiger, Renyan?" Renyan year of the tiger. Su Yang paused, then nodded, and said, "Yes, this year is 2022, and according to the lunar calendar, it is the year of the tiger, Renyin." Ha ha! Finally, we have waited for the 100 sects martial arts competition in the year of the tiger, Renyan. After receiving the definite answer, Suemo was overjoyed, with an excited look on his face. "After the 100 sects martial arts competition, I will skyrocket. 3 great foreign immortal emperors, haha, you can't be arrogant for long. Within 3 to 5 years, I will personally destroy you to avenge the past." "What do you mean? Is there anything special about the year of the tiger in Renyan?" Su Yang asked doubtfully. "Su Yang, I can answer this for you." Suemo smiled softly and said, "Hundreds of years ago, when I woke up from the immortal mountain, there was a Wudang sect leader who cut off my future for me. He said that I was about to have a catastrophe, and then I would be on the run for hundreds of years, and finally commit myself to a treasure." Suemo continued, "He also said that my disaster will end at the 100 sects martial arts competition in the year of the tiger. At that time, I will soar 80,000 miles across the 19 regions of the Milky Way." At first, I didn't believe it, but what happened later was exactly what he said. Suemo said excitedly, "Haha, I have finally waited for the year of the tiger in Renyan. I can't wait, boy Su Yang, when will the 100 sects martial arts competition start?" "Tomorrow," Su Yang said calmly. "Ha ha ha, so fast." Suemo was ecstatic and said, "In the next few days, I can leave the Void Tower and travel across the world. I finally have the opportunity to return the hatred I had in the past. Suemo, there is one thing I hope you can figure out." Su Yang smiled and said playfully, "Whether you can get out of the Void Tower or not, I have the final say. All the so-called destiny deductions are nonsense. Without my permission, let alone 3 or 5 days, even 35 years, you would never leave the Void Tower. Boy Su Yang, you will let me out." Suemo smiled confidently. "Haha, I'm afraid you will be disappointed," Su Yang said, "I have no plans to let you out of the tower yet." Su Yang said calmly, "Stop pretending. I have been beaten to the point of amnesia before. How can I say that I am invincible? What do you know?" Su Yang nodded, and then his soul left the second floor of the Void Tower and returned to the real world. Oh! Suemo was so proud that when he heard this, he suddenly lost his composure and gritted his teeth and said, "Those 3 immortal emperors are all powerful men in the world." Suemo smiled playfully and said, "You kid, you are very similar to me in this way. I admire you. That's pretty much it. Let me arrange it. You are my prisoner now. As long as I have a thought, your soul will be shattered. Do I need to beg you?" But they secretly plotted against me. I challenged 3 peak immortal emperors with a seriously injured body, and I was still able to survive from their hands. This is unique in the world. If the opponent is weak, I will steal the evil spirit stone myself. If the opponent is stronger than me, I will find an opportunity for you to talk to him. You can order him to hand over the evil spirit stone to me." Su Yang shook his head and said, "I can't control other people's lives, but there are people who hope this won't happen, and I don't want to disappoint her. Immediately afterwards, Suemo then said, "Boy, do you want to inherit my mantle and practice my skills? You will be invincible in the world in the future. If it's one-on-one, I can completely defeat them. Even if I fight 2 people, I'm sure to win. If 3 people join forces, I'm not afraid at all. When did I say please? Hee. You are in your 20s, at the 9th level of Chi training, and your talent is average, but you can be recognized by the Void Tower, so you must have your own advantages." Suemo just smiled and did not argue with Su Yang about the matter. Then he said, "Back then, I did leave a magic weapon to the gaming section. It was an evil spirit stone that could absorb endless death energy and control. He possesses the power to destroy heaven and earth." Suemo looked at Su Yang with a smile on his face, and then asked, "Su Yang, when you ask about this, do you want to stop the gaming sect disciples?" "Not interested." Su Yang said playfully, "Suemo, I'm afraid you haven't figured out your position." "Okay, I'm not interested in this. If there is a large amount of death energy stored in the evil spirit stone, once it is sacrificed, no grass will grow in an instant, at least within 100 miles. I have this idea." Su Yang did not deny it. Hearing this, Suemo started to take action and smiled softly, "Boy, why should I help you? Haha, you are worthy of being a descendant of Suwuji, caring about the world and showing mercy to all living beings. You just said that you felt a huge chi in the Chunguang Tower. They have the same origin as me. They should be disciples of the gaming section. After collecting enough chi, they want to cause trouble in Wudane Mountain. In a word, if you don't help, I will immediately make you my nourishment." Su Yang took a step forward, and the space on the 2nd floor trembled slightly. A terrifying force swept over him. The oppressed Suemo bent his body and showed pain on his face. Suemo was frightened immediately, with a look of fear on his face. He then smiled and said, "Well, Su Yang, don't be angry. I'm joking with you. I will definitely help you with this. I am your great-grandfather's friend. If I don't help you, who will? You. Please stop your power. No. Please ask me to do something." Cough. Su Yang refused to listen to his pretense and interrupted, "I am in Chunguang Tower right now, and I will look for the evil spirit stone later. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 463. At this moment, Chunguang Tower, in the room. Su Yang, who was sitting cross-legged, slowly opened his eyes and raised a smile on his lips. "This time I entered the 2nd floor of the Void Tower and learned a lot of useful information. It was a worthwhile trip. But, due to the forced entry, his soul was damaged, so his face was a little pale at the moment. Originally, Su Yang planned to devour the souls of the 2nd-level demon cultivators to replenish his own soul. But after weighing it, Su Yang gave up. Regardless of Sumo's identity and whether he is related to his great-grandfather or not, this person can be kept. Certainly. Su Yang knew that Suemo didn't tell the truth to him. This old guy had a lot of things on his mind. But Su Yang has lived for 100,000 years, and what he is best at is seeking the skin of a tiger and slowly pulling it apart, otherwise he would not be able to grow into a generation of immortal emperor. As for the damaged soul, the damage is not serious at all, and it should be almost recovered after some cultivation, so it is not worth mentioning. Tomorrow is the 100 sex martial arts competition. Let's settle the matter of death first so that Shuer won't worry." Su Yang smiled softly and then his eyes became serious. As he said before, he didn't care if the radius of 100 miles turned into ruins, but he cared about Jian Shangxiu's mood and didn't want to make Shuer sad. Therefore, Su Yang must take care of this matter. Since the death energy is in the Chunguang Tower, the person who controls the evil spirit stone must have something to do with the Chunguang Tower. Su Yang sat cross-legged on the bed with no intention of getting out of bed. He smiled softly and said, maybe Chunguang Tower is the property of Gaiming section. If this is the case, I will deliberately find trouble here, and I will definitely lead to someone holding the evil spirit stone people. With this thought in his mind, Su Yang raised his hand slightly and released 2 bursts of spiritual energy, awakening the previously stunned beauty in costume. My head feels so dizzy, sir, what's wrong with me? One of the beauties in ancient costume held her head and stood up unsteadily. Snapped. However, before she could stand still, Su Yang slapped her in the face and knocked her to the ground. A crisp voice sounded in the room, and the beauty in ancient costume was stunned and said with a grieved face, Master, why did you hit me? You still have the nerve to ask me. Su Yang sat on the bed, glanced at the woman casually, and said coldly, haha, you don't even want to see what you look like, and you want to come over and serve me. Gun gun gun, tell your manager that I want to change someone and ask him to send the most beautiful woman in Chunguang Tower to my room. This beautiful woman in ancient costume was so frightened that she burst into tears as she had never been wronged like this. Sir, please calm down. Seeing this, another beauty in ancient costume hurriedly came forward, put her 2 snow-white arms on Su Yang, and said flatteringly, if you have anything to say, please tell her. If you don't like her, just change her. As she said that, she winked at the beautiful woman in ancient costume lying on the ground and told her to leave quickly. This beauty in ancient costume is just an ordinary person who came to Wudang ancient town to make money. She knew that the people who appeared here now were all powerful ancient warriors, so she naturally did not dare to provoke them, so she left the room in a hurry and panic. Sir, please wait a moment. The steward will rearrange the arrangements for you soon. The remaining beauty in ancient costume caressed Su Yang's cheek and exhaled softly, now, let me serve the young master first. I promise to satisfy the young master. Snapped. But before she finished speaking, Su Yang raised his hand and slapped her to the ground with the same slap, without any sign of mercy. You get out too. Su Yang said disdainfully, I don't care if they are all ruined. I have a lot of money, and today I will play with the most beautiful woman in Chunguang Tower. Su Yang said impatiently, if the Warren here doesn't show up in front of me within 5 minutes, I will demolish the Chunguang Tower. Sir, please respect yourself. Although I am a lowly servant, Chunguang Tower is not a small section. You'd better think twice before you act, the woman in ancient costume said through gritted teeth. Are you threatening me? Su Yang's eyes flashed, and he immediately released his power and pressed towards the woman on the ground. Puff. The terrifying aura was so powerful that it oppressed the woman. She spat out a mouthful of blood, her face turned a little pale, and she quickly begged for mercy, Master, spare your life. I know I was wrong. Get lost, Su Yang said mercilessly, his face as dark as water. Yes. The injured beauty in costume wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth and ran out of the room. Before leaving, she glanced at Su Yang with resentment, obviously knowing that this guest was causing trouble. After driving away the 2 beauties in ancient costumes, Su Yang raised the corners of his mouth slightly, sat cross-legged on the bed, and waited for the manager of Chunguang Tower to find him. About a few minutes later, a male steward led 3 masters of the Earth sect realm over. And this steward is at the peak of Tianzong, and his strength is not weak. I'm Li Rong, the general manager of Chunguang Tower. Li Rong's eyes fell on Su Yang, and he smiled apologetically and said, Master, if you are not satisfied with those 2 women, just say it. Why are you so angry? They only rely on their faces for food. You have left a mark on their faces. Fingerprints tell them how to receive other guests. I can't control that. Su Yang remained sitting on the bed and said arrogantly, what I mean is, have they told you? I told you. Li Rong nodded. Then why didn't you bring the most beautiful woman, Su Yang said with an unkind expression. Sir, we do have an Warren in Chunguang Tower, who is more beautiful than any other. But as we all know, Miss Lan Miaoi never accepts guests. It would be a great honor for ordinary people to even look at her. Li Rong smiled softly and said, you asked me to bring her back. Isn't this forcing someone to do something difficult? I don't have that ability. Not accepting guests, Su Yang heard this and asked doubtfully, is she having her period today? This, I'm not very clear. You call her Miss Lan Miaoi. Since she is a lady, why don't you accept guests when you haven't had your period? Su Yang asked. Young master, I misunderstood. The young lady I am talking about is not a young lady in the city, but a title for a girl who has not yet left the court. Li Rong looked displeased, but he didn't know Su Yang's identity, so he didn't get angry. He was afraid of offending the inheritor of the mysterious mountain, so he smiled and said, Miss Lan Miaoi is the signature of our Chunguang Tower. As I said before, it is difficult for ordinary people to meet her, and she will not come to accompany you. He. When Su Yang heard this, he snorted coldly and said angrily, bitch, which one of your eyes can tell that I am an ordinary person? I'll give you another chance. Go find Lan Miaoi immediately. I'm going to fuck the Warren tonight, Su Yang said simply and rudely. Fuck the Warren? Damn it. Is it that straightforward? When the three Earth sect masters next to them heard these words, they immediately showed anger and were eager to teach Su Yang a lesson, but they were stopped by Li Rong. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 464. Sir, you may have been practicing in seclusion for too long and don't know anything about the ancient martial arts world. Let me tell you about Miss Lan Miaoi. Li Rong said with a smile, our courtesan, Lan Miaoi, is beautiful and fragrant, and will captivate the country. Moreover, Miss Lan Miaoi has a special physique and is a natural master of Shenzong. She was enveloped in a dense aura as soon as she was born, which shocked the entire ancient martial arts world. Li Rong continued, nowadays, Miss Lan Miaoi has reached the peak of Shenzong in her 20s. She is in charge of this Chunguang Tower. And I'm just a manager, young master. How do you think I can please her? The realm of the born divine sect. Su Yang frowned slightly, and was really shocked, but then he said coquettishly, I don't care who she is, I'm going to fuck her today and tell her to come here. That's too much bullying, boy. You dare to insult our host, you don't know whether to live or die. The host has a distinguished status and is above the rest. Who are you? A toad wants to eat swan meat. We in Chunguang Tower are not easy to bully, we are the ones who bite the nose and face. The three Earth sect masters beside him couldn't bear it anymore and rushed towards Su Yang together. This time, Li Rong did not stop him, but stood aside and watched, wanting the three people to test Su Yang's strength. Boom. 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 The outcome can be imagined. It was just the Earth section. Su Yang didn't take it lightly. He raised his hand slightly and knocked away the three Earth sects. A few seconds later, the three bodies hit the wall and spurted out a mouthful of blood. You alone dare to attack me? Do you know who I am? Chunguang Tower doesn't want to exist anymore, right? As he said that, Su Yang's eyes fell on Li Rong, and he performed the arrogance and domineering to the fullest. The more arrogant Su Yang became, the more Li Rong felt that he had a profound background, so he did not dare to quarrel with him. Master, calm down. Li Rong hurriedly clasped his fists and expressed his apology, it's my failure to discipline them. These subordinates are too presumptuous. Young master has shown mercy, why don't you thank him? Li Rong looked at the three people lying on the ground and said in a deep voice. Thank you for not killing me, sir. The three of them realized that Su Yang was someone they couldn't afford to mess with, and they all knelt down to thank him. It's such a shame to have to thank someone for being gentle when someone beat you up. Okay, it's just ants, I don't want to argue with you. Su Yang said impatiently, my request is very simple. Let your host Lan Miao come clean and lie down on my bed honestly, otherwise I will lead people to demolish Chunguang Tower. Son. Li Rong smiled bitterly, you don't know something. Our host is also a top-notch beauty in the ancient martial arts world. All the major forces have her suitors, including not only young prodigies, but also sect masters, and mountain masters. Those people have noble status and transcendent status. It would be as difficult as going to heaven to meet our landlord. Why do you have to embarrass me, a servant? Li Rong then said, Sir, let's do this. I will arrange for you the most beautiful women in our Chunguang Tower and let them serve you to your satisfaction. It's just vulgar and powdery. Besides, it's already dirty. I don't like it. Su Yang said stubbornly, I want Lan Miao. She never accepts guests. Just let me be her first guest. Today, I have to sleep with her, Manager Li, don't force me to use my family's power, Su Yang threatened coldly. May I ask, Master, where is your home? Li Rong asked cautiously. Su Yang said seriously, Jiangbei, Su family, my name is Su Yang. Jiangbei Su family. Li Rong frowned slightly, then took out a tablet computer from his body and started operating it. Chunguang Tower has been open for many years and has always kept pace with the times. In order to know the identity information and family background of the guests faster, they have a system that can check most of the ancient martial arts forces in the world. From the place of Zen to the small families in the city, as long as there is a master in charge, they will enter the Chunguang Tower system. At this moment, Li Rong entered the 4 words Jiangbei Su family in the system search bar, and the Su family's information popped up. His son Su Shenbing has reached the realm of strength. The attic was filled with gray gas, enveloping the entire attic. Within 3 minutes, I want to see the fragrant Lan Miao lying on my bed, Su Yang sneered, as if he couldn't wait any longer. The next moment, Li Rong's body fell heavily to the ground, spurting out a mouthful of blood. His face turned pale, and his eyes were full of shock, but then he turned to regret. Based on the above information, it can be inferred that the Su family will decline in 3 generations, and the family rating is extremely poor. Boom. But now I realize that this guy is just a frog in the well who doesn't know how high the sky is. This person has such terrifying strength at such a young age. He must be participating in the 100 sex martial arts competition. He must be one of the dark horses to win the championship. Chunguang Tower must not offend him. Seeing this information, Li Rong was furious. This is death energy, a huge and pure death energy that exudes terrifying power. Su Yang sat cross-legged on the bed, silently recited the host's name, and raised the corners of his mouth slightly, showing great interest in him. Snort. At this time. Okay. The 3rd generation is named Su Yang. He is a super dandy. He is obsessed with life and money. He is nostalgic for clubs and has no cultivation. The Su family has been established for decades. The 1st generation head of the family, Su Qincan, was in charge of the 3 armies and was at the level of a master. With this in his mind, Li Rong hurriedly stood up and said, Master Su, please calm down. Don't you want to see our host? I'm willing to do it for you. I'll go and invite the host now. Originally, when he saw Su Yang being arrogant and domineering, he thought that the force he belonged to was so powerful. Lan Miao. Good guy, he is like most geniuses since he was born, and he is in a state that most people cannot reach in their lifetime. Li Rong was furious. Recalling Su Yang's arrogant posture and words, he instantly lost his mind and took action directly. This is not a gift, it is simply cheating in life. Born divine. The system's information must be wrong. This Su family is not that simple. I shouldn't take action rashly. However, Su Yang was sitting on the bed, and with just one punch, a terrifying force surged out, sending Li Rong flying out of the air. Li Rong agreed respectfully, and then hurriedly left the room with 3 seriously injured Earth sect masters. The meaning of listening to the boss does not mean that someone else has enlightened you and you are born as a divine sect. Puff. Su Yang wanted to meet this Lan Miaoi and see what was so special about a person born in the divine sect. Su Yang snorted coldly and said calmly, "Go ahead, remember, I only give you 3 minutes. On the top floor of Chungguang Tower, there is an attic overlooking the entire Wudang ancient town. Boy, you are so courageous. I was almost fooled by you. Is Chungguang Tower a place where you can find trouble? Seek death. We must inform the poster about this matter and ask him to come forward to resolve it so as not to offend the future overlord." He was too impulsive just now, but now he remembered that Su Yang defeated 3 Earth sects with just a raise of his hand. How could he be a super playboy? Urban super dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 465. In the middle of the attic, there is a round platform, and a woman in green clothes is sitting cross-legged on the round platform. Her appearance is absolutely beautiful, even compared to Li Feixuan, she is still not inferior. Especially her temperament, fresh and refined, repelling others from thousands of miles away, so attractive. Directly in front of the woman, a stone the size of an egg is suspended in mid-air. This stone is the evil spirit stone mentioned by Su Mo. It is also because of the existence of the evil spirit stone that the death energy in the attic cannot spread. Not only that, the evil spirit stone is mysterious and can also isolate the dead energy from being discovered by the outside world. If Su Yang hadn't possessed the soul of the immortal emperor, he would never have noticed the existence of the evil spirit stone. At this moment, the woman in green clothes, with her beautiful eyes slightly closed, was absorbing the death energy from the evil spirit stone. Zhou Shen's aura was heart-stopping. She is the controller of Chungguang Tower, the born divine sect Lan Miaoi. Master, something bad is going on. Someone is making trouble downstairs at this time, Li Rong's voice came from outside. You don't have to say it, I already know it. Lan Miaoi opened the beauty and ended her cultivation state. Her face turned slightly red and she gritted her teeth and said, "How dare you act wild in Chungguang Tower and threaten to fuck you? Such a vulgar person cannot be forgiven. I will go meet him later. You go ahead." Lan Miaoi has reached the peak of Shenzong, and Su Yang's room is below. Even in her cultivation state, she still heard the conversation between Su Yang and Li Rong, and felt extremely disgusted with Su Yang. She wants to fuck her as soon as she opens her mouth. She says it so straightforwardly that she doesn't hide her inner feelings at all. Who is this person? Has he lost his face? Absolutely abominable. Yes. When Li Rong heard Lan Miaoi's words, he walked away without even opening the door. After, Lan Miaoi raised her head and glanced at the evil spirit stone. She kept squeezing it with her slender hands. After a few more minutes, she finally finished practicing and took the evil spirit stone into her body. A magical weapon of this level can be put into the body and is easy to carry. Next, Lan Miaoi put on a cyan veil and a cyan dress, opened the wooden door of the attic, stood in the corridor, leaned on the railing, and looked around the entire Chungguang Tower. Look, Lan Miaoi. Lan Miaoi, the courtesan of Chungguang Tower, is the one who has confused many fans of the geniuses in the ancient martial arts world. Now Lan Miaoi is not only the Warren, but also the owner of Chungguang Tower. There are semicolons all over the ancient martial arts world. Although I can't see her face, her temperament is so amazing. Her eyes alone can kill me. I've been conquered by her. A natural-born divine sect, with amazing talent and beauty, and an appearance that will captivate the entire country. Those who like her in the ancient martial arts world can line up from Mount Tai to Mount Lu. Haha, I heard that Ximen Longjian of the Ximen family once said that he would not marry anyone but her in this life. That is a family that is comparable to the land of Fengchan, between the mountains and the sea, and deep in the clouds and mist. Not only Ximen Longjian, it is said that the Buddhist disciples of Bodhi Mountain had a lifelong misunderstanding when they saw Miaoai. For Lan Miaoai, they have returned to secular life. Who among the geniuses of the major sects would not be interested in this stunningly talented and lovely person? If they hadn't restrained each other, Lan Miaoai would have been occupied. After all, the foundation of Chunguang Tower is not enough to keep her. Speaking of which, Lan Miaoai is also a poor person. She has been unable to control herself since she was a child, wandering among the great geniuses in search of freedom. I don't know how long she can hold on. You are lagging behind in the news. Lan Miaoai has reached adulthood. As far as I know, her suitors have reached a consensus that whoever wins the first place in this year's 100 sex martial arts competition will be qualified to marry Lan Miaoai. This is good. The ancient martial arts world follows the way of heaven. The first person will become the alliance leader. Then Lan Miaoai will be the alliance leader's wife. A peerless beauty will be the alliance leader's wife. This should be the best destination for her. Lan Miaoai heard everyone's words clearly and showed a helpless smile. If possible, who would want their future to be controlled by others? Why can she only be an accessory to the strong and become a plaything of men? Lan Miaoai refuses to accept her fate. No one knows that on the surface she runs Chunguang Tower, but in fact she is in charge of the Ghost sect, which frightened the ancient martial arts world more than 100 years ago. After discussion, the major forces decided not to allow her to compete because she was born a divine sect, different from ordinary people, and unmatched by anyone of her age. As long as the evil spirit stone is sacrificed, Lan Miaoai will instantly step into the realm of foundation building and have a certain right to speak. She made up her mind that she would disrupt this year's 100 sex martial arts competition and disrupt the peace of the ancient martial arts world. Recalling the conversation between Su Yang and Li Rong, Lan Miaoai's face dropped like water. She walked down from the attic and entered Su Yang's room in full view of everyone. Why? Why do I have to suffer like this? Because she was born as a divine sect, she was reluctant to give up her true energy. Before leaving, the previous sect leader told Lan Miaoai that enough death energy had been stored in the evil spirit stone. Once activated, not a single blade of grass would grow within 100 miles. Over the years, although Lan Miaoai had cultivation techniques in her mind, she did not practice them. The evil spirit stone is a magical weapon, but it cannot suppress the unknown, and it makes me miserable every day. If she participated in the 100 sex martial arts competition, there would be no need to compete at all and she could just award the award. The previous leader of the Gaiming sect had already reached the realm of pill formation. She has had enough of dealing with the great geniuses, so this year's 100 sex martial arts competition should be put to an end. My life is so miserable. But before that, Lan Miaoai planned to teach the guy named Su Yang a lesson, and he must make his life worse than death. But finally, this person is so disgusting. In addition to her, there is another person who was also banned from participating this year. Good. Simply. Now she is the only one left in Gaiming sect. Unlike himself, he is just a duckweed in the ancient martial arts world, drifting in the wind and rain. The previous sect master saw that she was born in the divine sect realm and had excellent bones, so he accepted her as a disciple. That is Qian Shan Snow in Jufeng Mountain. When she found out that those suitors regarded her as a bet for this year's 100 sex martial arts competition, she came up with the idea of competing. Lan Miaoai often compares herself with Qian Shangxiu. She envies Qian Shangxiu's origin and background. Therefore, after the previous leader of the Gaiming sect taught Lan Miaoai the skills and evil spirit stones, He set foot on the ancient road in the starry sky and left the earth. Lan Miaoi used the evil spirit stone to make rapid progress in the ancient martial arts. In just 20 years, she had already reached the peak of the Shen zone. But this is not the main reason. The most important thing is that practicing the demonic skills of Gaiming sect requires killing all living beings. Lan Miaoi has good intentions and cannot do it. Lan Miaoi felt unbalanced, and a seed of hatred gradually took root and sprouted in her heart. She is the leader of the Gaiming sect and the only member of the Gaiming sect. Although there are many people around him who care about him, including some of the most powerful geniuses and heirs of famous mountains, Lan Miaoi knows very well that those people do not really care about him and all have bad intentions. Those below Tianzone will be killed directly, and those above Tianzone will also be severely damaged. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 466. What happened? Why did Lan Miaoi enter that room? Who is in the room? You can actually get Lan Miaoi's hospitality. Lan Miaoi never accepts guests. Only the top talents from famous mountains will show up to perform her talents. That's not right. Only the 4th floor of Chunguang Tower has exclusive private rooms for big shots. Logically speaking, guests on the 3rd floor are not eligible to be summoned by Lan Miaoi. Many guests in the hall saw Lan Miaoi entering Su Yang's room, and they immediately started talking. Please stop guessing. At this time, Li Rong stood on a high place and said truthfully, the distinguished guest in this room is from the Su family in Jiangbei, and his name is Su Yang. Speaking of the Su family, it is an amazing family. The strongest elder among them is only at the level of a grandmaster, but he has cultivated a young prodigy named Su Yang who can compete with the peak of the Tianzone. It is admirable. Li Rong deliberately revealed Su Yang's identity in order to create hatred for Su Yang. What Su Yang did in the room earlier made him lose face, and Li Rong had long held a grudge. But he was worried that Su Yang would achieve high achievements in the future and did not dare to go against Su Yang. However, the poster had many admirers and it had nothing to do with him what others did. Sure enough, when the guests in Chunguang Tower heard Li Rong's words, they immediately exploded. Jiangbei Su family. Never heard of it? The strongest ones are only at the master level. What a rubbish family, they are not popular at all. The people who look after the gates of my family are all earth sections. Stop blaming, didn't you listen to what the chief steward said? The Su family has a genius who is comparable to the peak of Tianzone. He is really not weak. Tisk, it's probably just the smoke coming out of the ancestral graves. It doesn't matter. Among the geniuses participating in the 100 Sex Martial Arts competition in Qingcheng Mountain this year, there are 2 Tianzone peaks. With no family background and no background, I don't accept why the Su Yang is received by Lan Miaoi. Everyone, please be quiet. Seeing this, Li Rong raised a smile with a successful plot on his lips, and then sighed and said, hey, everyone doesn't know. Our host did not take the initiative to receive you, but was forced by Mr. Su. Earlier Mr. Su was looking for trouble and made a big fuss in the room. He had to have us, the Warren from the Chunguang Tower, as his companions, otherwise he would demolish the Chunguang Tower. As we all know, there is only one Warren in Chunguang Tower, and that is our owner Lan Miaoi. There is no other way. Mr. Su is extremely talented. I am no match for him and I am afraid of offending him, so I have no choice but to inform the poster. Li Rong looked helpless and gritted his teeth and said, this Mr. Su has really bad conduct. Not only does he want our landlord to receive him, but he also bluntly said that he wants to, hey, I'm ashamed to say it. At this time, someone below asked, what is he going to do? Master Su wants to. Li Rong deliberately played off, paused for a few seconds, and then gritted his teeth and said, he wanted our poster to clean up and lie on his bed. He said he wanted to fuck our poster. Master Su's words were simple, crude, and unabashed. I was stunned when I heard him. Li Rong looked at the room where Su Yang was and said with worry, I don't know if our host will be in danger. Hey, this may be her fate. Fuck, Lan Miao I. Buzz. As soon as Li Rong said this, the scene instantly caused an uproar and completely exploded. What the hell, I'm so mentally broken. What does Lan Miao I mean in the ancient martial arts world? She is a beauty that most of the top geniuses would kneel down and lick. Who gave him the courage to say such ridiculous things? He who doesn't know is fearless. Others won't mention it. Ximen Longjian is in Wudan ancient town at the moment. If he knows about it, Su Yang will definitely die. Haha, there is also the Buddhist son of Bodhi Mountain. For Lan Miao, he would even leave Bodhi Mountain. If he knew that someone wanted to fuck him, I'm afraid he would go on a killing spree, right? Huashan, Hongshan, Huangshan, the geniuses of these famous mountains are all suitors of Lan Miao. Now they are all in Wudan ancient town. Who can't take advantage of Su Yang? Tonight, if Su Yang doesn't die, I'll eat Yang, fry or stir fry, I'll eat 10 kilograms. In addition to being shocked and angry, everyone at the scene smiled in excitement. At this time, there were naturally spies arranged by the major geniuses in the Chunguang Tower. After getting the news, they immediately left the Chunguang Tower and reported to the genius. Li Rong noticed it and showed a playful smile, concluding that Su Yang had no way out. At the same time, within the room, Su Yang sat cross-legged on the bed, his eyes falling on Lan Miao not far away. Lan Miao was also looking at Su Yang, with a strange color flashing in her eyes. No one can kill people in Wudan ancient town. This is a rule set by Wudan Mountain. Therefore, Lan Miao originally planned to beat Su Yang severely as a warning. But after seeing Su Yang, Lan Miao noticed that Su Yang had a powerful aura in his body. This person is not simple. Therefore, Lan Miao did not take action rashly, but met Su Yang's gaze and observed him carefully. In this way, the two looked at each other for nearly 2 minutes. Mr. Su, you must have heard what those people outside said. In the end, Lan Miao took the lead to break the calm and said in an indifferent tone, now, do you regret what you said? Su Yang nodded, walked down from the bed, smiled softly and said, I regret it. Huh, you are self-aware. In this case, you go out and apologize to me, restore my reputation, and forget about it, Lan Miao said coldly. If Su Yang persists in his obsession and continues to speak rudely, she will naturally not let him go. But now that Su Yang had given in, Lan Miao didn't want to make the matter a big deal, so as not to attract attention. After all, she has a plan, which is to release the death energy in the evil spirit stone at the end of the 100 sex martial arts competition, slaughter hundreds of miles around, and directly set foot on the foundation to dominate the world. Until then, it is better to do less than to do more. Apologize. Unexpectedly, Su Yang said playfully, haha, I'm sorry, I'm afraid you misunderstood me. I regret it, but what I regret is that I shouldn't have delayed it for so long. I should have found you directly, fuck you. Su Yang raised his hand, gently slid it across Lan Miao's chin, and raised the corners of his mouth. For a beauty with your temperament, if you are late for a minute, I feel uncomfortable. Lan Miao was stunned on the spot, her beautiful face showing a hooded look. Move, take action. Just touch it directly. All the suitors around her have been respectful to her and kept a distance from her, for fear of offending her and causing her dissatisfaction. But the young man in front of her actually touched her chin directly. This was something Lan Miao didn't expect, so she didn't react for a while. After coming back to her senses, Lan Miao's face suddenly sank. Genkai surged around her body, Her eyes were filled with murderous intent, and she said coldly, "Su Yang, you are the first man to touch me, good, good." Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 467. Lan Miaoi was angry and had murderous intentions. This Su Yang not only uttered wild words and wanted to fuck her, but also dared to touch her. One after another, so vulgar and vulgar, Lan Miaoi couldn't swallow this tone. She must kill this person. Haha, you finally know that being touched by a man is a good thing. But who would have thought? Su Yang raised his hand and touched Lan Miaoi's chin again, and said with a playful smile, "Miss Lan Miaoi, actually, this kind of physical contact is tasteless. We can do something more enjoyable and better. It's something, hey hey hey. You said just now that I am the first man to touch you. You have already been touched by me anyway, so why not let me be your first man, so that it is good for you and good for me?" Su Yang said with a bad smile. The expression on his face was very unbeatable. Certainly. He deliberately pretended this, in order to force Lan Miaoi to kill him. He has already felt that the Genkai in Lan Miaoi's body is about the same as Qin Shangxiu. The chief steward named Li Rong did not lie. Lan Miaoi must be at the peak of the Shen zone. In this realm, killing Su Yang is not a big problem. But Su Yang is not without the ability to fight back. With the hidden sky stone just around the corner, he can easily escape for a few minutes. He is fully capable of escaping. When the time comes, he can ask Ali for help and he can completely torture Lan Miaoi. However, Su Yang did not want to escape because he knew that killing people was not allowed in Wudang ancient town. Therefore, Su Yang deliberately angered Lan Miaoi, making Lan Miaoi hate him extremely. And Lan Miaoi, even at the peak of Shen zone, couldn't kill Su Yang instantly. In order to deceive others, Lan Miaoi will definitely choose to fight quickly and use the strongest attack method. If she is really the evil spirit stone, she will definitely sacrifice it at this time. This is Su Yang's purpose. What? How dare you touch me? At this moment, Lan Miaoi's anger level reached its peak, and her teeth were almost broken. This damn guy, after touching himself once, dared to touch him a second time. This was something she never expected. It was so hard to guard against. Lan Miaoi's face was flushed with anger, and the feeling she had just been touched kept recurring in her mind, and her whole body felt like an electric shock. But for some reason, that feeling seemed to be a little bit wonderful. She wasn't too disgusted, just very angry. Touch me. How dare he touch me twice? Soon, Lan Miaoi realized what she was doing, and her heart was filled with rage. No. Su Yang must die. Su Yang, I'll kill you. Lan Miaoi gritted her silver teeth, her eyes stern, and her slender hand immediately patted Su Yang. Well done. Su Yang raised a playful smile at the corner of his mouth, already prepared. After turning on the hidden sky stone and using Sofar, his body disappeared in an instant. Lan Miaoi jumped into the air and hurriedly put away the power in her palm, for fear of destroying the room. Hey, baby, I'm here. The next moment, Su Yang suddenly appeared in front of Lan Miaoi and directly pulled off Lan Miaoi's veil. In an instant, a stunningly beautiful face was exposed to the air. This face is better than 99.99% of women of all time. Not only is it one in a million, it is impossible to pick one out of a billion. Gilug. Su Yang was stunned and couldn't help but swallow. In his last life, he had seen too many fairies, and those people looked bleak compared to Lan Miaoi. Of course, it doesn't mean that her appearance is better than Li Feiquan, Qin Shangxiu, and Ali. All I can say is that these women each have their own merits and cannot be compared together. Li Feiquan is gentle, virtuous, knowledgeable, and sensible. The snow on 1,000 mountains is as cold as ice, but on the other side it is sweet and sweet. Needless to say, Ali is charming, with dual cultivation of Yuluo, and her every move captures the heart. Tisk, tisk. After receiving a definite answer, Lan Miaoi said in a deep voice, our Gaiming sect was destroyed by Suwuji back then. How dare you mention your identity as a descendant of the Su family in front of me? So, Su Yang said, Lan Miaoi, I know the whereabouts of the founder of Gaiming sect. Lan Miaoi didn't expect that Su Yang would suddenly appear. When she came to her senses, the veil had been taken off, and her face turned red and she became angry with embarrassment. As soon as the words fell, Lan Miaoi took action. She no longer hides her strength, and with the help of the evil spirit stone, she attacks the space with lifeless energy. Lan Miaoi gritted her teeth, and then with a thought, a stone the size of an egg sprang out of her body, suspended in the air, exuding a terrifying death aura. Wait a moment. Moreover, my ban is so strong that even masters at the peak of the Shen sect cannot break it. You. Lan Miaoi held the evil spirit stone on her head and said with a sinking face, I have used the most precious treasure to seal this room. When Su Yang saw this, the wretchedness on his face instantly disappeared, replaced by a look of seriousness, and he sneered, ha ha, the evil spirit stone is indeed on you. Ah! Snored. As for this Lan Miaoi, she looks not as gentle as Li Feichuan, not as cold as Qin Shangxiu, and not as charming as Ali. He. So what? Lan Miaoi said coldly. Not bad, Su Yang nodded. But unfortunately, she combines the advantages of these women, plus a peerless face, which is so attractive. What? No matter how big the noise is now, no one outside will notice it? Su Yang smiled softly and turned to say, since you know these things, you must also know that the founder of your Gaiming sect, a cultivator in the Danja stage, was suppressed by my great-grandfather, right? Su Yang no longer concealed his identity, but smiled and said, the Suwazi you are talking about is my great-grandfather. I am the descendant of the Kunlun Su family. Su Yang also came back to his senses, showed a mean smile, put the veil in his hand under his nose, took a deep breath, and then smiled with satisfaction, Miss Lan Miaoi, you smell so good, I like. Su Yang. Of course I have my reasons. Hearing this, Lan Miaoi stopped immediately, frowned and looked at Su Yang, and asked indifferently, Guiming sect has disappeared for more than 100 years. In the eyes of outsiders, Guiming sect has been destroyed by Suwuji long ago. What's wrong with you? Do you know the existence of Gaiming sect? I almost forgot. About 20 years ago, there was a genius who claimed to be a descendant of the Su family. He surpassed many geniuses in the ancient martial arts world and won the first place in the 100 sex martial arts competition. Are you a descendant of that person? Lan Miaoi asked. Lan Miaoi was slightly surprised, and then said doubtfully, the Kunlun Su family has been wiped out long ago, you. I want you to die badly today. Shameless. Dead anger. Lan Miaoi's eyes were full of murderous intent, without my permission, you can't escape, just die. Seeing this, Su Yang's eyes froze. He was self-aware and would not go head-to-head with the peak of Shenzhen. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 468. I heard clearly what those people were talking about outside just now. You have become a piece of cake because you have no elders to look after you. All the great geniuses in the ancient martial arts world want to have you. Su Yang smiled, and then continued, but if the originator of your Gaiming sect appears, the result will be different. With him as a shield, no one in the world will dare to attack you. After listening to Su Yang's words, Lan Miaoi dispersed the death energy in her palm, but did not take back the evil spirit stone, and still sealed the surrounding space. She looked at Su Yang. A pair of beautiful eyes looked at Su Yang intently, as if she was thinking about something. After a while, Lan Miaoi suddenly realized and couldn't help but said, Su Yang, the wretched posture before was not your true colors. Are you testing me? He he. Su Yang did not deny it and explained, today is my first time coming to Chunguang Tower. I noticed that there is a very strong death energy in Chunguang Tower. In addition, I got a piece of information from the founder of the Guiming sect, and I learned that he left an evil spirit stone to the Guiming section. Combined together, I guess that there is a descendant of the Guiming sect in Chunguang Tower, who possesses evil spirit stones, and seems to be plotting evil. As for this person, I don't know who he is. I just guess that it may be related to Chunguang Tower. Su Yang looked at Lan Miaoi, and then said, so, I deliberately found trouble and lured you out. But I still don't know if you have the evil spirit stone, so I deliberately angered you and made you think about killing me. Su Yang smiled and said, as expected, you were fooled and sacrificed the evil spirit stone. I see. What a deep scheming. Lan Miaoi stared at Su Yang, and her view of Su Yang changed drastically, but her hostility remained unabated. She said coldly, how do you know that I will definitely sacrifice the evil spirit stone? I don't think you are very strong, so, aren't you afraid that I will kill you instantly? I'm confident that you can't kill me. Su Yang shook his head and smiled, didn't you try just now? Snored. Your movements are indeed strange. You disappear silently and your whereabouts are elusive. Lan Miaoi said solemnly, however, now that I have sealed the space, if I want to kill you, you will definitely die. You won't, and, believe me, you can't kill me. Su Yang seemed to be convinced of Lan Miaoi, and the corners of his mouth raised as he said, Ali, come out. Ari. Lan Miaoi frowned, looked around and said, who is Ali? Where is she? Whoosh. The next moment, Ari passed through the space sealed by the evil spirit stone, and his figure appeared quietly in the room. Ari has met his master. Ali stood respectfully behind Su Yang and stared at Lan Miaoi with sharp eyes. Who is Su Yang? He is the Xiantian immortal emperor. Just in case, and to calm Lan Miaoi, he sent a message from his soul long ago to notify Ali that he was coming. Before Lan Miaoi entered the room, Ali was already hiding in the dark, waiting for Su Yang's order to protect Su Yang. You. Lan Miaoi was shocked when she saw Ali suddenly appeared, her face changed drastically and she said, who are you? You can ignore my ban. I am Ari. Ali said with a serious face, if you dare to show murderous intention to my master again, I want you to die. Lan Miaoi was immediately frightened and subconsciously took half a step back, obviously very afraid of Ali. Okay Ari, don't scare Miss Lan Miaoi. Su Yang smiled softly, then his eyes fell on Lan Miaoi and said with a smile, Miss Miaoi, can you tell me what your plans are for coming to Wudang ancient town with the evil spirit stone? Because there are people who don't want to see the destruction of life within 100 miles, and I care about her opinion. The moment the 100 sex martial arts competition ends, that's when I detonate the evil spirit stone. Lan Miaoi looked at Su Yang and asked warily, will you stop me? Yes. Lan Miaoi smiled bitterly, this time in the 100 sex competition, they even used me as a bet. The first place can have me. Do you know Schwerer? Su Yang asked curiously. No matter how hard I work and how good I am, I can't change my background. Ever since I was a child, I have learned to force a smile and perform my talents in front of people I hate to make them happy. More than just acquaintance. Speaking of this, Lan Miaoi paused for a few seconds, then her eyes were filled with anger, and she gritted her teeth and said, so, I want revenge. No one in the ancient martial arts world is innocent. I want those people to pay everything cost. Lan Miaoi sneered, turned to look at Su Yang, and said with a sad smile, haha, she and I are both beauties in the ancient martial arts world, and we are often compared together. Did they get my consent? Did they ask for my opinion? After listening to Lan Miaoi's confession, Su Yang fell silent, and looked at Lan Miaoi with a little more pity in his eyes. Haha, yes, in their eyes, I am just an accessory. I am not qualified to give opinions. Thousands of mountains of snow. With a 1,000-year escort, she will have a worry-free life. No one dares to provoke her. But it's her again. I am a born divine section. I have been a divine sex since I was born. The entire ancient martial arts world is astonished. Lan Miaoi continued, even if I am not feeling well, I still have to bite the bullet, meet with big figures from all major forces, and deal with various descendants of famous mountains. This woman has endured too much. But what about me? Hearing this, Lan Miaoi gritted her teeth and said, why are she and I the same person but different fates? Why? Su Yang said with a smile, so, I will stop you. As long as I am here, you can't even think of detonating the evil spirit stone. Who is the person you care about? Your sweetheart, Lan Miaoi asked. Qian Shangxiu smiled bitterly and said, she is the future of Jufeng Mountain. Grandpa is a world-famous master. He has killed for thousands of years and is not inferior to Shihahao, the land of Feng Chan. Meeting. Lan Miaoi smiled desperately, I was born in Chunguang Tower. The strongest foundation among them is only in the middle stage of Shenzong. Chunguang Tower is just an insignificant little force in front of the real famous mountain. Some people say, Nangxiu and Bilan, she is Qinchangxiu in southern Anhui, and I am Miaoi, Shan Bilan. Su Yang said truthfully, her name is Qian Shangxiu, my woman. I don't want to see her sad about this. You know the evil spirit stone, and you must also know that the evil spirit stone will have an impact on hundreds of miles around. It's precisely because of this that I didn't become anyone's woman, otherwise I would have been raised by a big shot the day I came of age at the age of 18. Lan Miaoi said expressionlessly, yes, I just want to destroy Wudang ancient town and destroy all the geniuses in the ancient martial arts world. Qian Shangxiu is a member of the Hushan divine section. When he was 18 years old, he received the blessing of Jufeng Mountain and entered the realm of the divine section. I am just a duckweed in the ancient martial arts world. I am helpless and lonely. No one around me is really good to me. They all covet me and want to have me. But she and I have different fates. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 469. There is no doubt that Lan Miaoi is a tragic character. In the first half of her life, she couldn't help herself and spoke insincerely. She was like a canary, allowing everyone to appreciate her. If she were an ordinary woman, she might be proud or even complacent. But Su Yang could tell that Lan Miaoi was not the kind of person who was content to keep to himself and was greedy for vanity. She will not be proud of others' attention and appreciation. On the contrary, she will feel it is a shame. Because she, Lan Miaoi, was born as a divine sect, and her innate pride made her unwilling to compromise with her fate. She is just a proud and cold white swan. Unfortunately, there are always people who want to press down on her noble head and regard her as a canary. It is in line with the saying, the heart is higher than the sky, and life is thinner than paper. Su Yang. At this time, Lan Miaoi's eyes fell on Su Yang, and she said coldly, you already know my story, and I can tell you clearly that after the 100 sex martial arts competition is over, I will detonate the evil spirit stone. Although this girl Ali next to you is unfathomable, you can't stop me. Lan Miaoi said with a determined look, I have become one with the evil spirit stone. As long as I have a thought, the evil spirit stone will open instantly. I feel that Miss Ali can kill me instantly, but she still can't change the facts. Lan Miaoi said seriously, because, once I die, the evil spirit stone will also self-destruct. At that time, the majestic death energy will leak out, and all ancient warriors within 100 miles will be affected. Su Yang, there should be your relatives and friends in Wudaing ancient town. There is no need for you to ignore them because of a woman. Lan Miaoi's tone was cold and she suggested, I'll give you a chance. As long as you don't tell today's events, after the 100 sex martial arts competition, I can give you half an hour. After you leave the vicinity, I will destroy Wudaing. In this way, you won't suffer any loss, and it won't affect my plan. How about it? Lan Miaoi said lightly. No. Su Yang shook his head and said, I said, as long as I am around, the evil spirit stone cannot be opened. Snort. Lan Miaoi snorted coldly, gritted her teeth and said, Su Yang, don't go too far, aren't you afraid that I will kill you all? As he spoke, the evil spirit stone above Lan Miaoi's head suddenly glowed with deathly energy. Miss Miaoi. Su Yang was not afraid at all, and smiled softly, can you answer me a question? You ask. Su Yang nodded, and then asked curiously, since you took over the evil spirit stone, you must be a descendant of the Gaiming section. Doesn't the Gaiming sect have any background? Why are you allowed to show up and be teased by the famous mountain sect? Isn't that so? Didn't you disgrace the Gaiming sect? Hearing this, Lan Miaoi sighed and said truthfully, now, I am the only one left in the entire Gaiming section. My master is the previous leader of Gaiming sect, but she has entered the realm of pill formation. Lan Miaoi said with deep taboos, cultivators must not advance to the level of pill formation. My master is an old lady who has never fought or grabbed anything in her life. She rarely even goes out. Almost no one in the world knows her. When she was not evil, she never took the initiative to kill. The essence and blood needed for cultivation came from people who were about to die or who had just died. It can be said that she never killed anyone in her life. Lan Miaoi continued, so, your great-grandfather Suwazi did not kill my master because he saw my master's kindness. My master did not disappoint Suwaji. As long as she kills innocent people indiscriminately, within 3 to 5 years, she will be able to condense the golden elixir and reach the realm of elixir formation. But she stuck to her heart and withstood the temptation to become stronger quickly. This persistence lasted for more than 100 years, and she finally succeeded in forming a pill. My master is such a good person, but the laws of heaven refused to let her go. After forming the elixir, she was plagued by bad luck. No matter day or night, she felt miserable. When she couldn't bear it anymore, she even thought about dying, but I persuaded her to stop. Lan Miaoi continued, about 7 years ago, on the 5th day after my master formed the elixir, she finally couldn't bear it anymore and went to the Kunlun Mountains. She took advantage of the Ximen family and left the earth through the ancient starry sky road. It's been so long. I wonder how my master is doing now and whether he's doing well outside the territory. At the end of the sentence, Lan Miaoi's eyes flashed with longing. That's it? When Su Yang heard this, he was a little shocked. He didn't expect that 7 years ago, there was a cultivator in the realm of alchemy on earth. Originally, he thought that after building the foundation, he would be invincible, but now it seems that the earth is not simple. Master, I am the nine-tailed dark fox. Unlike the human race, our demon race has just established its foundation and reached its peak. At this time, Ali noticed Su Yang's concern and sent a message from his soul, if you don't form the pill, no one can be my opponent. As for the realm of pill formation, according to what this Diao Mao said, cultivators in this realm will encounter bad luck and be miserable, and the earth will definitely not exist. Ali smiled and reassured, so, Master, you don't have to worry. Haha, okay, Ari, the trip to Wudaing depends on your, wait. Suddenly, Su Yang said with a strange expression, what did you call Lan Miaoi just now? Catch the hair. Ali smiled charmingly. Su Yang said with a dark face, what are you talking about? Who did you learn from? Suzing, is there anything wrong with saying this? Ali looked confused. Suzing. This little thing. Su Yang gritted his teeth and planned to practice the strength of his fingers after going back. He had to make arrangements if his brain collapsed. Su Yang, why are you asking about Gaiming sect and trying to trick me? At this time, Lan Miaoi frowned. Miss Miaoi. Su Yang reacted and smiled softly, you are worrying too much. I just want to understand the Gaiming section. As you said, the Gaiming sect has declined. The previous sect leader never killed innocent people indiscriminately. You also did not set foot in cultivation. You used true energy. Su Yang continued, from this point of view, the Gaiming sect has corrected its evil ways and returned to normal. What does the direction of our Gaiming sect have to do with you? Do you need to ask about it? Lan Miaoi said coldly. Tao Mao. Ali saw Lan Miaoi's unkind expression, so he narrowed his eyes slightly and warned, pay attention to your attitude. Su Yang is my master, and I must treat him with all due respect. If you are cruel to him again, I will kill you. Who are you calling a hairy person? Unexpectedly, Lan Miaoi was furious when she heard these two words. You. Ah. Shut up. Although Lan Miaoi doesn't like to be admired by disgusting people, she is a peerless beauty and cares most about what others think of her. At this time, she became so angry that she forgot about Ali's strength, gritted her teeth and said angrily, don't call me a moron, call me a pretty girl. Dio Mao, you are Dio Mao, Ali said nonchalantly. Lan Miaoi exploded, blushing and roaring, pretty girl, you have to call me pretty girl. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 470. You are not a pretty girl. You're a loser. Ali also became stubborn, gritted his teeth and said seriously, you are just talking about hair, talking about hair, talking about hair, talking about hair. Ah. Lan Miaoi suppressed her face and turned red, but she knew that she couldn't beat Ali, so she didn't dare to take action. The scene froze for a moment. All right. Seeing this, Su Yang touched his chin to smooth things over, you two, stop arguing, it's more important to talk about business. Little Dio Mao. Ali looked at Lan Miaoi again, murmured in a low voice, and then stood obediently behind Su Yang. You. Lan Miaoi looked at Ali angrily, and finally looked away, and said impatiently, Su Yang, if you have anything else to say, please say it quickly, or leave quickly, and I will treat it as if you have promised me. Proposal, let's not offend the river. Miss Miaoi, don't be so hostile to me, I'm here to help you. Su Yang smiled softly, and then said, even if you activate the evil spirit stone and destroy 100 miles of Wuodane Mountain, what will happen? The death energy in the evil spirit stone is leaked, and it can only kill cultivators below the Tian zone level. Those above Tian zone and above will be affected, but the problem is not serious. Return to Mingshan and take some medicinal herbs and pills to recover. Su Yang Yu turned around and said seriously, and you have done such an outrageous thing, do you think those big figures in the ancient martial arts world will let you go? As far as I know, there is another realm above the Shen sect called the Land Martial God. If nothing else happens, those people who stand at the top of the ancient martial arts world will most likely be at this level. Su Yang said truthfully, have you ever thought about what will happen to you after the incident? Even if you escape during the chaos, where will you go? By then, all the famous mountains in the ancient martial arts world will be chasing you. Are you going to be on the run for the rest of your life? Su Yang finally said, there is another question that you haven't thought about. Wuodane Mountain has a radius of hundreds of miles, and there are not only ancient warriors, but also tens of thousands of ordinary citizens. They are innocent. They should live and work in peace and contentment, enjoy eternal peace and spend their lives in peace. Su Yang said seriously, but because of your own resentment, you destroyed their homes and even caused them to explode and die. How can you bear it? Are you worthy of your own conscience? Are you worthy of the master who never killed innocent people indiscriminately? Su Yang said righteously, what would her reaction be if she saw you doing such a thing? Original. Su Yang planned to let Su Mo come to frighten the person in charge of the evil spirit stone, thereby resolving this disaster. But after careful consideration, Su Yang changed his mind. That old moron from Su Mo. Bah, that old guy has empty eyebrows. Su Yang was worried that Su Mo would have a wrong idea, and if he used the evil spirit stone to do something, the gain would outweigh the loss. In order to avoid this uncontrollable risk, Su Yang sent a message from his soul and called Ari, asking Ari to use strong methods to scare the owner of the evil spirit stone and steal the evil spirit stone. But after learning that the person who controlled the evil spirit stone was Lan Miaoi, Su Yang did not immediately tell Ali to take action. Because he could see that Lan Miaoi was not a vicious person. If you can persuade the other party to give up and rescue the lost beauty, then why fight and kill? Now, it depends on Lan Miaoi's response. Su Yang concluded that Lan Miaoi's decision to activate the evil spirit stone would be loosened. As expected. You have. Lan Miaoi looked at Su Yang and choked up, Su Yang, if there is a second way, I will not do this, but I have no choice. Unexpectedly, Su Yang laughed heartily and said, Miss Miaoi, I'm afraid you have misunderstood. That's right. No. Haha, do you think I will believe you? Lan Miaoi sneered, how can you endure the beauty of me? My appearance is not inferior to yours, and my figure is even better. I have a honeycomb waist, peach hips, and waistcoat line. I am big where I should be, and small where I should be. She is charming and beautiful. At this time, Lan Miaoi raised her head and her eyes fell on Su Yang's face. Her expression was stunned and her mind went blank. Su Yang pointed to Ali next to him and smiled softly, and her, my female slave Ali. Lan Miaoi looked at Su Yang like this, with a strange light shining in her beautiful eyes. At this moment, Lan Miaoi's face showed pain, her beautiful eyes were slightly red, and she obviously couldn't bear to sacrifice so many innocent citizens. I want to change, I want to break the status quo. I don't want to play Guhan to people I hate anymore, I don't want to dance in front of them, I don't want to see those so-called descendants of famous mountains and gentlemen anymore. I just want freedom, I want me to be mine. That's for sure. Buzz. Suddenly, Lan Miaoi lost control of her emotions. She broke down and cried, I've had enough of this life of being like duckweed and being slaughtered by others. This Su Yang, like those descendants of famous mountains, all wanted to monopolize themselves for their own selfish desires. As long as I'm here, no one in the entire ancient martial arts world will dare to force you to do something you don't like. Lan Miaoi reacted, pushed Su Yang away, and said coldly, it's high-sounding, Su Yang, after all, don't you want me and make me your exclusive item for you to play with? Ahem. Thinking of this, Lan Miaoi laughed to herself, laughing at her naivete. In addition to the two of them, there are several beauties around me, each with their own merits. About 10 seconds later. I'm not interested in your body. I just said that no one can force you to do something you don't like. Su Yang touched the bridge of his nose and said, you underestimate me too much, and you also think too highly of yourself. Su Yang smiled playfully, Miss Miaoi, do you think you can beat them? Su Yang shook his head, strode up to Lan Miaoi, put his right hand on her face, gently wiped away the tears on her face, and said softly and domineeringly, as long as you hand over the evil spirit stone, from now on, I can be your backer, your foundation, and your protector. Su Yang added, anyone among them, including me, so don't worry. There are so many beauties around me, and every one of them is as good as you. It's ridiculous. I actually thought that he was really good to me, and I felt an unprecedented sense of security in him. It was simply ridiculous. Why at this moment, I feel so relaxed, as if the sky is falling, and he is supporting me. Is this a sense of security? Haha. This man, what is he talking about? Is he making a promise to me? Su Yang then smiled and said, the most important thing is that she is very obedient. If I ask her to take off her clothes and accompany me now, she will not reject it at all, and will even ask for it. Su Yang, I know what you said, and I don't want to implicate them, but what can I do? Didn't you say Nan Shui Bei Lan? Nan Shui Qian Shan Shui is my woman and she gave birth to 2 children for me.